I don't think this man is dumb. And we're going to start a conversation that we're going to continue tomorrow. But I want to, as we enter another important election, it seems like every election is the most important election of our time. And we're not wrong. 2020. And then the last one we just had, the senator's race in Georgia, super important midterms. And now we're heading into another presidential election. And this one is important. And once again, here comes the people telling us not to vote for Democrats. And let me just be very clear. Y'all all know I am not a partisan politic person. I do not ascribe to any particular party. I'm all about our power and our freedom, period. Now, for people to say that the Democrats have done nothing for Black people and they're just the same, to me, you immediately tell me that you don't do any research or read at all, because right now, these two parties are not the same. Right now, we have one party that is an open nationalist racist party. That is the edict led by an open nationalist racist person who's leading the way, right? And two of them, actually, if we're going to include DeSantis in Florida, two people that don't like people, okay? And so their policies follow that they don't like people. Now, what do they like? Money. They like money and power. And I'm not saying that the Democrats are void of all of the things, the lobbyists, and yes, they all have the same issues in terms of how they've been manipulated, but the policies, please do some homework. Please don't just come out there because it sounds good. So I'm going to play this clip because it sounds good. When he's saying it, I was like, yeah, I could go down that rabbit hole too if I didn't read. I could be right in line with this if I didn't study or think, but I do. So play clip one, Smith.
One more thing I wanted to ask about was like in the 2020 when you kind of supported Trump and stuff like that. What did you think about, like, because you're Hollywood, there's a lot of like propaganda and stuff like that. What was that like getting flack for that?
I mean, I never supported Trump or Biden. I never asked to speak to the Republicans or the Democrats. I created a document called The Contract with Black America that spelled out a lot of different issues that we believe were the reason why it was so much unrest after George Floyd was killed. And I released the document and everybody wanted to talk to me. The Republicans asked to talk to me and the Democrats. I went to talk to both of them about the contract. The Republicans asked, could they implement some things from the contract into their proposal. And I said the document was open for anybody to use in any way they desired. So if they just want to use it as educational purposes, they could. They wanted to add more, paragraphs or more ideas to it, they could. They wanted to use it to get a law change, they could. So I didn't mind them using it. I met with the Democrats. The Democrats said, we like 90% of what's in there, and we'll talk to you after the election about it.
There's like a stigma amongst like the African-American community to like Republicans and stuff like that.
I don't know what's going on in the African-American community when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Like, Black people have supported Democrats, overwhelmingly for 50, 60 years. And nothing has changed. So something's got to change.
Okay. So if that last part is being played a lot. And I don't disagree with that, that something's got to change, that last part. However, I feel like we don't properly understand how things work. So we, the people, vote, elect people, but we don't elect people blindly. So all the people, Obama did more for gay people. Well, the gays had an agenda. Like, here's what we want. Here's what we want. And here we want marriage equality. And, so there was an agenda that was handed over. And, I feel like we used to know that. So I remember the famous quote, LBJ pushed back on all the civil rights legislation. And King was like, yeah, we about to march. we're gonna make it real uncomfortable. And he was like, just hold off. And King was like, no, we're not holding off. So there was this kind of understanding that if you don't do these things, there's going to be a consequence. And we're going to make it really uncomfortable. There's going to be boycotts and marches. And Lyndon Baines Johnson didn't want any of that smoke. So he pushed this stuff through, met with his fellow racists, and they made things happen. Not because they wanted to, because they didn't want to have to deal with the smoke. I feel like when Barack Obama was elected, or even Clinton, there was this kind of like, oh, he plays the sax and he was with Arsenio, that there was no ask at all, right? That coupled with a lack of leadership, because there was no King or Adam Clayton Powell who inside the House, because, he's actually was in the same position as a Lauren Boebert. Imagine that they held the same position. Like Adam Clayton Powell and Lauren Boebert had the same position, which is sick and crazy to me if I have to sit and think too much. But because of Adam Clayton Powell, we had Head Start and most of those. So while King was applying pressure outside the House, there was somebody inside the House. Now there's a whole lot of posturing, folk that want to show up to Super Bowl parties and Easter egg rolls and be in pictures at Christmas time. And there's not a whole lot of contention among the quote unquote leaders. They just are happy to be invited. And those that don't get invited then get mad. And then they got smoke on the out. Like it's just a lot of posturing and not a lot of work for the people. There's not a lot of Ida B. Wells's and Mary McLeod Bethune inside, outside house. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm a hang with Eleanor Roosevelt to get stuff done. And then Ida's like, I'm gonna apply pressure over here. WB's over here. Like there's a lot of celebrity leadership. Not a lot of people doing the work. So we have a leadership vacuum. So I'm gonna say this: Ice Cube is not a leader. If you're following him, sorry. He's also not wrong, but neither was Randall Robinson, right? So if you like The Covenant, please read The Debt. If you like The Covenant and haven't read The Debt, What America Owes to Blacks, then you are, a little ignorant. If you love The Covenant and, the contract with Black America and didn't read The Covenant, let me go back. If you like this contract and didn't read the Debt, Randall Robinson, boo. If you like the contract and didn't read Tavis Smiley's 2006 The Covenant, which is The Debt, boo. Why are we always starting from scratch and not elevating the work that was already done? Randall Robinson did the work. Tavis Smiley came, did some work. You doing all new work with none of the scholarship, sir. And yes, you have some amazing people that you're in community with, but you ain't really talked to everybody. You don't know enough to be the spokesperson. You barely speak well enough. And, I'm just saying, at some point, we have to take some responsibility. There hasn't been an agenda as far as I'm seeing, and yes, someone could say this contract is the agenda. We can go back to the debt and just pick that up. But then who's pressing to say, if you don't do these things, here are the consequences? I feel like there's a lot of capitulation and a lot of comfort. And at the same time, both of these parties are not the same. And we literally are voting for our lives, not for agenda items, which is sad that we just are voting so that we don't have a total apartheid system where our children's lives and our lives are in jeopardy. You see what Florida looks like. What would that look like across the United States? This man's attracting police officers that are basic Nazis, open carry gun laws. Folk aren't safe. It's like, really, Arkansas, no rights, books being banned. We didn't even talk about Amanda Gorman today. Young, brilliant poet. Her books are banned by literate people who don't even read, who put Oprah Winfrey's name on the damn thing in protest over her book, said it was Oprah Winfrey was the author, and it wasn't. The Hill We Climb is not written by Oprah Winfrey. You don't even know how to fill out a form. There's misspellings on here, illiteracy, and you're complaining about books being banned that you didn't even read. You're banning books You said, but they're putting in the forms, y'all. They're putting in the work. They know what the blueprint is because they've been handed. Here's what you do if you want these books banned. They've been all given these forms, fill them out, rinse and repeat. And it's the same with the legislation on the Republican. So that's the difference. Republican lawmakers like Lauren Boebert, who can't read, write, or do arithmetic, is literally handed a blueprint of what to be for and what to be against, how to go out, what the talking points are, and she parrots it. The Democrats, are all individuals with, they got minds of their own. And nobody can tell me what to do. They're all on code.